The wind arrives first, long before you see anything. It sweeps across a land so wide, so impossibly open, that silence itself feels like another living creature. Here, in Mongolia, the horizon is endless, the sky is enormous, and the people are few. This is one of the largest countries on Earth, yet its population is so small that entire valleys can remain untouched for seasons. And still, they stay, in their round white homes glowing softly on the grasslands, in the company of horses, camels, and a freedom that the modern world has long forgotten. Life here does not follow clocks. It follows weather, instinct, and ancient memory. As we step into the heart of these vast plains, one question echoes louder than the wind. Why do millions choose to remain in a place so harsh, so empty, and so breathtaking? Let's begin this journey. Life on the Move, a Rhythm, written by Wind and Hooves. For the nomads of Mongolia, life is not anchored. It flows, shifting with the seasons, the animals, and the unforgiving sky above. Their days begin before sunrise, when the plains are still tinted blue and frost clings to the grass. Families step out of their round felt homes, the jur, and check their herds as if greeting old friends. Horses, yaks, goats, sheep, and the iconic Bactrian camel. Mobility is survival here. When the grass thins, they pack their entire home in less than an hour. Wooden frames, felt walls, stove, furniture, and move to a new pasture just as their ancestors have for thousands of years. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is permanent. Children grow up learning to ride before they can properly walk. Their small hands gripping the mane of a horse that will carry them across distances that would take days on foot. Men and women work side by side, guiding animals, repairing gear, gathering dung for the fire. At night, the land becomes a black sea, and only a thin line of starlight spills across the horizon. In this silence, time stretches. There are no city lights, no crowds, no deadlines, just the slow pulse of nature. To outsiders, this nomadic life might seem harsh, chaotic, or even lonely. But to the people who call the steppe home, it is a life defined by movement, independence, and a deep, almost spiritual connection to the land. Out here, freedom isn't an idea, it's the air they breathe. The women of the steppe, strength wrapped in silence and tradition. Across the vast Mongolian plains, women carry a power that is quiet but unmistakable. Their strength is not announced, it is woven into every movement of daily life. At dawn, long before the animals stir, they tend the fire inside the jur, boiling salty milk tea that warms the entire family against the morning cold. They manage the household, prepare food, mend clothes, and care for children, but their work extends far beyond the doorway. In the nomadic world, women ride, herd, and guide animals with the same mastery as men. Many are skilled horseback riders, capable of cutting through the wind with a confidence shaped by generations who lived and survived here. Their presence influences everything: the balance of the family, the rhythm of the camp, even the spiritual life of the community. In traditional ceremonies, women prepare offerings, arrange sacred blue scarves, and maintain rituals that connect the living with the spirits of the land. Beauty, too, carries meaning here. Their braids, jewelry, and traditional clothing are more than decoration. They're symbols of identity and family history. A single necklace can tell where a woman comes from, who her ancestors were, and the values she carries. And in a society that treasures mobility, women often become the silent strategists, deciding when the family should move, how to protect the herd, and how to endure the brutal winters. To meet a Mongolian woman is to witness resilience shaped by storms, winds, and endless horizons. Their strength holds the family together, their wisdom guides entire migrations, and their spirit preserves the ancient soul of the steppe. Art of the endless plains, voices, instruments, and stories that travel with the wind. In Mongolia, art is not confined to galleries or stages. It lives out on the plains, carried by the wind and kept alive by people who learned to express themselves through sound long before written language arrived. The most iconic of these traditions is throat singing, a technique that seems almost supernatural to those hearing it for the first time. A single singer produces 2 or even 3 tones at once, one deep and rumbling like distant thunder, the other high and shimmering like wind brushing over metal. These haunting harmonics echo across the steppe, blending with nature until you cannot tell where the voice ends and the land begins. Alongside the voice stands the morin khor, the horsehead fiddle. Its strings vibrate with a warmth that resembles a human voice, and its shape tells the story of a nomadic nation bound to horses. Musicians say its sound contains the memory of hooves, wind, and migration. In the evenings, families sit inside their jur as someone plucks the strings or hums an old melody. These songs are not entertainment. They are history. They speak of battles, storms, lost horses, unbreakable friendships, and the fragile threads that tie humans to the natural world. Dance, too, is deeply woven into their culture. Movements mimic the stride of horses, the swoop of eagles, or the sway of grass under the summer sun. To experience Mongolian art is to step into a world where creativity is shaped by survival, where expression is a bridge between generations, and where every sound is a reminder that even in an empty landscape, the heart remains full. The jur, a circular home built to outsmart wind, cold, and time. Across Mongolia's wide-open plains, the jur stands like a quiet guardian, simple, round, and perfectly designed for a life that never stops moving. At first glance, it looks delicate, almost too light to withstand the brutal winters that sweep across the steppe. But step inside, and you immediately understand why this structure has survived for centuries. A jur is a masterpiece of efficiency. Its circular shape allows fierce winds to slide around it rather than crash against its walls. The wooden lattice folds like an accordion, and the felt layers, made from compressed sheep's wool, trap warmth better than many modern materials. Families can dismantle and pack their entire home onto a few animals in a single morning, then rebuild it again by afternoon. Inside, every detail has meaning. The doorway always faces south, welcoming sunlight and protection. The right side belongs to men, tools, saddles, and gear. The left side belongs to women, cooking pots, food storage, and clothing. At the back sits the family altar, a sacred place where generations of ancestors, spiritual symbols, and treasured objects watch over the household. The stove stands at the center, both literally and symbolically. It warms the air, cooks the meals, and becomes the heart of the home when winter storms rattle the walls. For many visitors, the jur feels impossibly small, but for the people of Mongolia, it represents freedom. A home that moves when they move, survives what they survive, and protects them no matter how harsh the night becomes. On the steppe, this simple round shelter is more than architecture. It is identity, memory, and the quiet soul of nomadic life. Belief in the unseen, spirits, mountains, and the old magic of the steppe. Spiritual life in Mongolia is not confined to temples or ceremonies. It breathes through the landscape itself. Here, faith is a blend of Tibetan Buddhism, ancient shamanism, and a deep reverence for the natural world. Every mountain, river, and lonely stretch of grass holds a spirit, and people speak of them with the same respect they give to elders. Before a journey, they may tie a blue scarf, called a kadag, onto an ovu, a sacred stone mound built to honor local deities. Travelers circle these mounds 3 times, offering milk, vodka, or even a handful of stones, asking the spirits for safe passage across the vast plains. In the quiet hours of dawn, shamans still perform rituals that feel older than memory itself. With drums echoing like distant thunder and smoke rising into the cold air, they call upon the spirits to heal, guide, or protect. Their role is not only mystical, but deeply practical, bridging the living with forces that nomads believe shape weather, luck, and destiny. Buddhism adds another layer of calmness and compassion. Prayer wheels spin in small monasteries scattered across remote valleys. Monks chant in deep rhythmic tones that drift into the wind, blending with the sound of animals grazing outside. Inside the jur, families keep small altars decorated with incense, Buddha statues, and photographs of ancestors. Spirituality is woven into daily routine, whether through a quiet moment before a journey or a whispered thanks after surviving a harsh winter. For outsiders, these beliefs may seem mysterious, even enigmatic. But for Mongolians, faith is not an escape from their environment. It is a way of living in harmony with a land that demands respect, humility, and an awareness of forces greater than oneself. Food of the cold, meals forged by wind, winter, and wandering lives. In Mongolia, food is shaped not by preference but by survival. The climate is brutal, the winters long, and the land offers little room for crops. As a result, meals rely heavily on animals, meat, milk, and every possible transformation of both. For nomads, livestock is more than livelihood. It is nourishment, currency, and tradition on a plate. Step inside a jur, and the first thing you will be offered is sute tsai, salty milk tea. It may surprise visitors, but this warm, comforting drink is essential for those who face icy mornings and endless winds. Then there is Arag, fermented mare's milk, a symbol of hospitality with a sharp, tangy flavor that shocks newcomers but delights locals. Almost every meal revolves around hearty, energy-rich dishes. Mutton is king here, slow-cooked, boiled, fried, or dried into strips that can last through the winter. One of the most remarkable dishes is korkog, where meat and vegetables are cooked inside a sealed metal container with scorching hot stones. When the lid opens, steam and rich aroma fill the jeer, turning a simple meal into a communal celebration. In harsher seasons, families turn to boodog, goat or marmot cooked from the inside out using heated stones, a technique passed down through generations. Dumplings called booze and kusher are common too, stuffed with minced meat and fat to fuel long days of herding. Vegetables are rare, spices even rarer, but flavor here comes from simplicity. Pure meat, pure milk, and the unmistakable taste of life on the steppe. Mongolian cuisine may seem unusual to outsiders, but each dish carries centuries of resilience. In a land where survival is an art, food becomes a quiet testament to endurance, community, and the warmth that people create despite the cold. Family and community. Bonds that hold strong across endless distances. In a land where neighbors may live miles apart and winter storms can isolate entire valleys, community becomes more than companionship. It becomes a lifeline. Mongolian families are tightly knit, with roles passed down through generations and responsibilities shared by everyone. Even children carry an early sense of duty. They wake before dawn to fetch water, gather dung for the fire, or help guide young animals back to the herd. These small tasks weave them into the rhythm of nomadic life, teaching them independence but also the importance of working together. Hospitality is one of the country's oldest virtues. Out on the steppe, any traveler is welcomed without question. Guests are fed, warmed, and offered tea long before anyone asks their name or reason for visiting. This tradition comes from necessity. Survival in such a harsh environment depends on kindness. Families often live far apart, but their connections remain strong. When someone moves to a new pasture, nearby households ride over to help raise the jur, share supplies, or exchange news. Celebrations like weddings, brandings, or the arrival of a newborn turn remote plains into vibrant gatherings filled with song, food, and laughter. Even in modern times, with many young people moving to cities, the idea of community remains deeply rooted. Elders are respected, decisions are made together, and the well-being of the group always outweighs personal comfort. On the Mongolian steppe, distance may separate homes, but it cannot loosen the bonds between people. Modern life on ancient land, when technology meets the endless steppe. At first glance, the Mongolian steppe looks untouched by time, an ocean of grass, a few scattered jeers, and herds moving like shadows across the horizon. But step closer, and you'll find a surprising contrast. Modern technology woven into the fabric of a lifestyle that is thousands of years old. It's not unusual to see a nomadic herder on horseback guiding animals across the plains with a smartphone tucked into his belt. Many families now rely on solar panels placed outside their GR, powering lights, small refrigerators, and even televisions. The circular home that once held only traditional tools may now contain a satellite dish or a battery pack, quietly charging through the day. In some regions, children take online lessons thanks to strong mobile networks that stretch farther than many expect. A herder might spend the morning repairing a saddle and the afternoon video calling relatives in the capital city. Motorbikes have become essential, making long-distance herding easier and faster, while trucks help transport entire homes during seasonal migrations. Yet, despite these modern touches, the essence of daily life remains unchanged. Animals still dictate the rhythm of the day, weather still commands absolute respect, and freedom still holds more value than convenience. Technology here is not a replacement, it is a tool, adopted only when it serves the land and the people who live on it. This blend of old and new creates a unique reality, a world where live streams can coexist with throat singing, where social media updates come from remote valleys, and where tradition does not crumble under modernity, but simply adapts quietly, like the wind adjusting to the shape of the hills. Survival against the elements, when beauty turns brutal overnight. Life on the Mongolian steppe is breathtaking, but it is also unforgiving. Here, nature can shift from gentle to deadly in a matter of hours. The most feared threat is the dzud, a winter so harsh that even the hardiest animals struggle to survive. Temperatures plunge far below freezing, snow hardens into ice, and herds can no longer reach the grass beneath. For nomadic families, losing livestock is not just an economic blow, it is the collapse of food, transportation, and identity. Entire seasons of work can disappear overnight. Sandstorms sweep through the Gobi with equal ferocity, carrying walls of dust that swallow the horizon and force families to shelter inside their jeer until the world becomes visible again. Summers bring their own challenge, drought, when rivers shrink and pastures dry out, pushing herders to travel farther in search of fresh grass. Yet despite all this, Mongolian nomads remain remarkably resilient. Their survival depends on instinct, reading clouds, predicting storms, understanding the movements of animals, and trusting knowledge passed down through countless generations. Families help one another in times of crisis, sharing supplies or herding together to protect animals from wolves. Even in the harshest nights, when the wind screams around the jeer and the cold bites through layers of felt, the stove burns at the center, reminding everyone that warmth can still be created in a land shaped by extremes. This constant battle with nature is not seen as punishment, but as a truth of life on the steppe. As the sun slips behind the wide Mongolian horizon and the steppe turns quiet, this place leaves a mark you can't shake off. Its silence, its wind, its people. Once you experience them, they stay with you forever. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Could you live a nomadic life on these vast plains, or would you choose the city instead? What surprised you most about Mongolia? If you enjoyed this journey, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and share this video with someone who loves history and curious places.